guys, it's Shanna. I just wanted to sit down and talk about dealing with the competitive environment of trying to get to med school, feeling like you're not enough, and self-comparison. I think this is a really important topic. It's something I still struggle with in med school, and I think a lot of people do. It came up even this morning. I was working out with a classmate, and we were just talking about how it's really easy to get sucked into this mentality that like we have to be like everybody else, we have to be everything at once, and I think it can get pretty toxic at times, and it can make you feel really alone and feel like you're never enough. But hopefully, some of the tips I'm about to share you will help you out with that. So I think first of all, realizing that you are amazing. You are amazing in your own way, even if you don't see it. You're special and you have strengths that someone else doesn't have. I think it's really easy to look at someone else and say they have this thing that makes them amazing, and I don't have those things. So maybe you really don't have those things, right? So for me, I don't think I'm not really good at like walking into a room and just like everyone's attention's on you. Some people are really good at that. They kind of control the room and they're really charismatic. I don't have that, but I have other strengths, right? So I'm trying to remember that. So maybe for you, if you're someone like me that's kind of maybe on the quieter side, so you're not super loud, you're not super like not so much of a natural leader maybe, but maybe you're a better listener, maybe you're more reflective, maybe you're more compassionate. Not to say that those, you can't be both loud and a leader and those at once, but just recognizing in yourself that you have something, you do have strengths, and just it's really easy, I think, to overlook our own strengths. I do all the time. Another thing is we're not realizing that when we're trying to be all competitive and stuff, that there's more than enough to go around. So in terms of opportunities, so for example, you see a friend get a really cool research position and you're really jealous, or envious is maybe the right word, is you're envious because you've been trying and you've been rejected on email, like over 50 emails and stuff, and so you're feeling a bit envious. But then you're realizing that just because your friend got that position doesn't mean you're not gonna get one, because there's other opportunities and there's just more than enough to go around. If you keep going, you'll eventually find one. So that goes for a lot of opportunities too. Just like you didn't get that exact position at that club, but then there's other opportunities, or you didn't get just tons and tons of opportunities out there. That's just something that's also been helpful to me. I was talking to a resident, for example, I still feel anxious about that in terms of applying to a residency. So after medical school, we all have to go on and apply to get into further training if we, no matter what kind of doctor we want to do, and it's quite competitive nowadays, and so I think it's easy to get really anxious about that. And so one of the residents was just reminding me that there's more than enough to go around. There's a spot for every person that belongs to this field. So realizing that just because one person's gonna get that spot, or like 5 people that are really amazing, there's still tons of spots. So that goes for residency, right? There's spots all across the country, there's tons of programs. You don't get in, there's next year, there's another country, there's lots. It's not just like you have one chance and you have this one spot. That goes for medical school too. Just because, we all know that, person in our undergrad program that just everyone knows they're just on track to be successful. They're the leader of everything and they're outspoken and they win all awards. But, they took one spot. But there's like, in UBC there's like 269 spots a year. Beyond UBC there's like Alberta, there's Calgary, there's Toronto, there's McGill. There's just so many schools. And there's like hundreds of spots. There's spots just only in Canada, there's spots in the States, and then you can reapply. It's just there's just a lot to go around, right? And there's not just because one person has succeeded doesn't mean you don't have a chance to succeed. That sounds very intuitive, but for me that was something I still remind myself of. If I ever feel like, oh man, this person is better than me, and they deserve that spot, or they deserve this place in that program that I want to be in more than I do, then I realize like they have their strength, but that doesn't mean I don't need to like take myself out of the running right away. So that's something I still tell myself, that there's more than enough to go around. In that same vein of thought, I keep telling myself all the time, stay in your own lane, stay in my own lane. And so when I think of this is more of someone is doing something that I'm not doing, and I'm wondering if I should be doing that. And so I have some amazing classmates doing great work. So maybe they're running a side business, they're running a side nonprofit, and they're doing just like amazing things, and they're big leadership. And I'm like, oh man, like feeling inadequate compared to them because I don't have that strength, I don't have that experience. But I need to stay in my own lane because I'm doing my own thing. I'm doing my thing my own way. I'm not going to the same place. I'm not going to be doing the same thing as them. I'm living my own life. They're living theirs. Trying to remember that. I gotta stay in my own lane. So maybe like that means like I want this particular field and they want a different field, and so maybe the types of skills and strengths and experiences that we need to be successful in those fields are totally different. And so trying not to compare someone else's life with mine, just staying in my own lane as much as I can, and I try to do that. So another one that really sometimes I use a stay in my own lane is if I'm comparing myself to people that are not in medicine. So I definitely have some friends that are living an awesome life, doing a totally different field, and sometimes I get the comparisons because they're already established and graduated and like a real working adult, or they're studying a different field, so a different field of studies, and it is different. And so maybe the biggest one for me is the freedom of scheduling and having like more amounts of time than I do. And so sometimes I'm like, oh man, am I not on the right path? Because sometimes I just feel so busy, right? And I just feel like, oh man, like, because like, I get home, I study, and I'm researching, and then I'm just trying to find sleep and a little bit of that. And so sometimes I'm like, oh man, like sometimes I feel like I'm comparing myself a little bit, that I'm just not doing life right, and maybe I made a wrong choice. But then I check in with myself and realize that I have to be on this road to do what I want to do the type of work that is meaningful to me and gives me energy in life. So I'm in the right lane to get to the destination I want to go to. If I were in someone else's lane, so I was in a different field of study, or if I were already graduated and not doing school at all, I wouldn't be going to where I want to go. It would be impossible for me to get to the type of work and type of career I want if I were in a different stream of life, basically, right? So remembering that they're in a different lane because they're going to a different destination. So I think another one about dealing with and feeling not enough, it's okay to not be everything at once. So this is kind of, so I guess like with like caveat, like we all are trying to balance different things. We're trying to be a good daughter, we're trying to be a good sister, we're trying to be a good girlfriend or boyfriend, and you're also trying to do things like you're trying to be a good student, you're trying to be a good research assistant, you're trying to be, all these things. And so we all play multiple roles. But what I mean by you don't have to be everything at once is you don't have to be amazing at everything at once. So for example, I'm really into research and that's something I'm really passionate about. But I'm really weak I'm not involved at all at student government. And so there's some people who do amazing work with our student government, and they're making these initiatives happen and helping make decisions and sit in committees for our class. Awesome. And so it's hard. We can't be everything at once. So I can't be them and doing all that amazing work they're doing for our class at the same time that I'm doing my stuff, right? So it's like just saying like, I had a mentor say this to me before. He's like, because I asked him how does he balance his family work with his being a clinician and being a researcher, and he said, I don't expect myself to be like a Nobel Prize winning researcher. I don't expect myself to be like the best dad on the planet that attends like every soccer game, and I don't expect myself to be the best clinician ever. I try to be good at everything, but I accept and acknowledge that I'm not gonna be as good as someone who's just spent all their time or put more of their time on that thing, because I've chosen to divide them up. Just like thinking about our time and our ability to get really good at something as kind of this much and how we're chunking it out, and realizing that we can't be like a Nobel Prize winning actress and also an Olympic athlete, and also to be like a world famous Instagrammer. I don't know, right? Whatever floats your boat. But really, you don't have to be everything at the same time, and no one expects you to be, because it's like really tricky to do. Like good for you if you can, but I think that's a really big thing that gets perpetuated nowadays. Unfortunately, for example, with pre-meds, that you're supposed to be everything to be competitive, that you have to have like a 99% like grade average, and you have to also like have a bajillion publications, and then you also have to be like an Olympic athlete on the side. Like, no, it's okay. I think you don't need to have everything all at once. I think it's a little bit, it would make me think like, if you were good at everything, like what does that cost to your personal life? And so I don't think like, I'm not part of the admissions committee, I have no idea, but I would think if I were trying to evaluate someone who's coming in, I'm not going to expect them unrealistically to have everything together. More of just seeing like what kind of things they decide to spend their time on and why they're spending their time on them, and I'm gonna have realistic expectations on like what you can do, and knowing that there's human limits to time, basically. I think another thing to do about like not feeling enough is also checking in about that story we're telling ourselves. Just that's something I've been doing lately too, is what if I'm like starting to have that spiral, like I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, I don't know what I'm doing, is that a fact or is that the story I'm telling myself? And like 99% of the time it's the story I'm telling myself that is not actually grounded in fact. So for example, if I'm like working on this project and suddenly I feel like, oh, like it's hard, it's frustrating because I'm a little bit confused. I'm starting to think like I'm stupid, I don't know anything. But then if I check in with myself and like look at the facts, what is actually telling me the fact that I am stupid and I am not good enough? Well, no, I think if you think about it, I'm not stupid just because of this one thing, there's like other things that I've been doing that show that I do have some capability. I've been trusted with this project, I've already written the other parts and just working on this one part that's a little bit challenging. So just like checking in, I'm like, okay, I'm not totally stupid. And then if I'm not, what makes me not enough, like what is the expectation that is reasonable for me? I'm just a student. I'm not someone who's been in this career for 30 years. Obviously, it's gonna not be that easy. I'm not that experienced yet, and so checking in, having more realistic expectations about myself and what I expect has been really helpful to kind of deal with quashing some of that feelings of insecurity that come up. So yeah, so I guess just to summarize, those I still struggle with that. Some of these things about comparing myself, not feeling enough. So hopefully some of these mindset shifts will help you. But yeah, try to love yourself, love your strengths. Man, that sounds really, really cheesy. But I think you know what I mean. But embrace your strengths. And yeah, good luck with your medical school journey. Let me know if you have other questions and subscribe for more content like this.